So, picture this. You're wandering through the personal development aisle of like a really sprawling bookstore.
Yeah, we all know that exact vibe.
Right. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You are just surrounded by hundreds of these bright, glossy covers. You got these s smiling, perfectly lit author portraits, pastel color palettes.
And they're all promising the exact same thing.
Totally. All of them promising you a happier, wealthier, totally stress-free life in, 3 easy morning habits or whatever. And I will fully admit, um, I have a stack of those exact pastel paperbacks sitting on my nightstand right now.
Oh, I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, but I've never actually read them. They're currently functioning as very optimistic coasters for my coffee mugs.
Well, I mean, it's the standard industry aesthetic, right? It's meant to be approachable, frictionless, just easy.
Exactly. Frictionless. That's the perfect word for it. But imagine right in the middle of that sea of pastel, just sitting on the shelf, is this heavy, dark, metallic box.
Yeah, it stands out immediately.
It really does. It's covered in industrial rivets. The edges are framed in this intricate, almost um, gothic filigree. And stamped right in the dead center is an emblem of an H. And it's styled to look like a heavy Spartan or knight's helmet.
Which is such an aggressive choice for that section at the bookstore.
Oh, absolutely. It honestly doesn't even look like something you read. It looks like something you have to, like, pry open with a crowbar or unlock with a combination code. So welcome to another deep dive. Today, our mission is laser-focused. We are looking at a single, incredibly mysterious source text.
And we really are just looking at the object itself today.
Yeah, we are just decoding the front, back, and spine of a book, or rather, I guess an object titled BE HERO. Okay, let's unpack this.
The visual design alone, I mean, it's an aggressive counter-argument to literally everything else on that shelf. It's making a profound psychological statement before you even process a single word of the text.
It really is. And the back cover wastes absolutely zero time. It immediately confronts you with a thought experiment.
Oh, the one about the younger self.
Yeah. It asks, what if you could hand your younger self a map, one that unlocks clarity, strength, and purpose? Such a, universal vulnerability to tap into.
Right.
I mean, who hasn't laid awake in the middle of the night wishing they could mail a survival guide back in time to their 20-year-old self?
Oh, for sure. It's a very disarming opening. But notice the pivot there.
What do you mean?
Well, right after it taps into that universal vulnerability, the tone shifts into something incredibly calm and authoritative. The text explicitly states, this is not just a book. It's a vault.
A vault. Yeah, that's such a heavy word.
It is. And it goes on to say it is sealed with wisdom waiting to be opened. That phrasing is highly deliberate because, we live in a world completely obsessed with fictionless consumption.
Right, like downloading an audiobook in 2 seconds.
Exactly, or scrolling through 50 life hacks in a minute. By framing this physical object as a locked vault, the author is introducing intentional friction.
So, wait, making it seem difficult to access is actually the whole point?
Precisely. It's a very calculated psychological shift. It forces the reader out of the role of a passive consumer of information.
Like someone just absorbing another audio track or skimming a paperback on the train.
Right. It demands they become an active participant. Because you don't just idly browse the contents of a vault.
No, you have to break into it.
Exactly. A vault requires you to possess a key or figure out a code and do the actual physical work of turning the dial.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And that plays right into the tagline at the very top of the back cover.
Yeah.
It reads, in all caps, unlock the vault, embrace the code, become invincible.
The code, yeah.
Yeah, the text claims that inside this physical object lies a code, a journey, a commitment. And it says this is a manual years in the making, containing everything the author needed to learn, which has been tested, lived, and proven true.
It's a bold claim.
It really is.
Yeah.
And to me, talking about a vault that contains a code, it sounds a lot like discovering a master cheat code in a massive open world video game, but like for your actual life.
Oh, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Right. Like you find the hidden chest, you punch in the code, and suddenly you have unlimited health or something.
It's a great analogy, but I think with one critical distinction.
Okay, what's that?
Well, a video game cheat code bypasses the effort, right? You skip the hard part, but the framing of this text suggests the code is the effort. And I really want to draw your attention to the word invincible in that tagline.
Yeah, invincible.
Because that is a massive, almost mythological promise to make to a reader.
Honestly, it sounds a bit arrogant. I mean, invincible. It conjures up this image of like a billionaire prepper in a bunker, completely detached from reality. Is that actually a practical or even healthy goal to set?
What's fascinating here is that if taken literally as physical invulnerability or a life completely devoid of trouble, it would be totally delusional.
Right, you'd have to be crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we look at the surrounding text, that's not what is being promised at all. The author isn't selling some magical shield that deflects bad things from happening to you. Instead, the text positions this vault as a compass.
A compass?
Yeah, it says it will guide you to recode your mind, heart, and life.
Okay, so how does a compass make you invincible? I'm not sure I follow.
It does it by creating what we might call the structural integrity of the mind. True invincibility, in the context of this text, isn't about controlling the external world so that it never harms you.
Because you can't control the external world.
Right. It's about developing an internal psychological state that external challenges cannot break. Think of it like a house. The storm still hits the house, the winds still howl, but the foundation is poured so deep that the house doesn't collapse.
Oh, I see.
That internal clarity, that unbreakable foundation, is the invincibility they are talking about.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And it seems the author has very specific blueprints for pouring that foundation.
They do.
Yeah, if this vault is the compass, the text lays out the exact mechanics of how you navigate the journey. It promises milestone quizzes, practical exercises, self-reflection tools, and real-life strategies.
It's very hands-on.
Highly interactive. You aren't just absorbing theory, you're mapping your own progress. And the target areas are broad, too. It promises to help you unlock emotional mastery, purpose, love, vitality, and happiness. But here's where it gets really interesting, because I have to stop here and push back on something.
Okay, go ahead. What's standing out to you?
Well, the language is really rubbing me the wrong way. Specifically, the phrase, recode your mind.
Ah.
It's used right next to words like love, vitality, and happiness. And recoding sounds incredibly surgical.
It does sound a bit mechanical.
Exactly. It sounds like I'm a broken laptop and I just need to debug my motherboard. But we aren't machines. Human emotion is messy and unpredictable. If I try to recode my grief or recode my love, aren't I just, like, suppressing my actual humanity in favor of some cold algorithmic efficiency?
That is a very astute observation and honestly a very real danger in a lot of self-optimization culture today.
Right, the whole biohacking thing?
Exactly. However, true emotional mastery, which the book lists as a primary goal, isn't about suppression. It's about containment and channeling.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, think of human emotion like a massive rushing river. If there are no riverbanks, the water just floods everything.
Yeah, it rules it down.
Right. It's chaotic, it's destructive, and ultimately it becomes shallow because it's spread out everywhere.
So the code is the riverbank.
Exactly. The structure, the quizzes, the exercises, the recoding, it's all just the process of building high, sturdy banks.
Oh, wow.
The water, the raw human emotions, is still wild and powerful, but now it has a direction, it has a channel. And the text actually addresses this tension between structure and messy reality by introducing what psychologists call a personal call to adventure.
A call to adventure. Like Joseph Campbell stuff.
Very much so. It explicitly warns the reader that setbacks are part of the climb, not the end of the story.
That line caught my eye, too. It dares the reader to rise again and again, whether you are starting over or starting strong.
By explicitly normalizing failure before the journey even begins, the author is giving the reader a vital psychological tool.
Expectation management.
Yes. If you go into a process believing that a setback means you are fundamentally broken, the moment you stumble, you will stop.
Yeah, the shame will totally paralyze you.
Exactly. But if you are preconditioned to view a setback as just another rung on the ladder, another necessary part of the climb, you maintain your momentum. You don't throw away the compass just because you hit a dead end. You just recalculate your route.
Right. It frames the struggle as part of the heroic challenge. Like, you are the hero of your own life, so obviously there are going to be dragons to fight.
It's expected.
Yeah. It's not a glitch in the system. It is the system. But let's be real for a second. There are going to be days where the mechanics just aren't enough.
Oh, definitely.
You can take all the milestone quizzes you want, but what happens when the climb gets too steep, the night gets too cold, and you completely lose your nerve?
The tools fail.
Exactly. But the back of this vault has a mechanism for that exact scenario, and it dives into some surprisingly deep philosophical waters. It introduces the concept of the sacramentum.
It's a sacramentum.
Yeah, the text defines it as your sacred oath. and it provides a specific mantra for the reader to use when things get unbearably hard. It tells you to return to this oath and remember, you are not lost, you are becoming.
It's powerful.
It is. Now, I love the sentiment there, but I am genuinely curious about the packaging. Why use the word sacramentum? Why reach back into ancient Latin? Why not just tell the reader, hey, make a really strong promise to yourself?
Well, because a promise is fragile. I mean, we break promises to ourselves every single day,
Yeah, I promise I wouldn't drink this much coffee today.
right? We promise to eat better, to sleep more, to call our parents. A promise is often just a fleeting intention. But a sacramentum, a sacred oath, carries the psychological weight of millennia.
Oh, interesting.
Historically, an oath was something that bound your very identity. In ancient contexts, breaking an oath meant a loss of honor, a severing of your connection to your community or even your gods.
It was a big deal.
A huge deal. By choosing that specific, heavy terminology, the author is asking the reader to bind themselves to the journey. It elevates a standard self-improvement goal into an unshakable point of identity.
Wow. And the mantra tied to that oath, you are not lost, you are becoming. How does that actually function in a moment of crisis? Like, practically?
It acts as a neurological circuit breaker.
Really?
Yeah. When we feel completely overwhelmed or quote-unquote lost, our brain's amygdala triggers a panic state, the fight or flight response. We start thrashing around emotionally.
Panic mode.
Exactly. But the word becoming implies a process. It implies a chrysalis state. It takes the exact same discomfort, the confusion, the pain, the darkness of the climb, and it assigns a positive future-oriented meaning to it.
So you reframe the pain.
Yes. You aren't stranded in the dark. You are simply in the tunnel. It changes panic into patience.
That makes a lot of sense. And that heavy, solemn weight we're talking about is physically reflected in the design, too.
The plaque.
Right at the bottom of the back cover, there's this gorgeous golden plaque, and it makes an incredibly bold claim, printed in all caps. It says, this book is not about self-help. It's about self-honor.
That is a massive distinction.
It really is. And I want you, listening to this right now, to just pause and really chew on that distinction. What stands out to you? Because self-help versus self-honor, to me, it completely flips the script on the entire personal development industry.
How so?
Well, self-help inherently implies that you are fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
It's a deficit model. It implies you lack something, so you need to go to the store, buy a pastel book, and, like, fix the leaky pipe in your brain.
Yes, it's essentially pathologizing the human experience.
Exactly. You're treating yourself like a patient. But self-honor implies that you are already a hidden masterpiece.
I love that.
You are whole, you are complete, but maybe you've just been sitting in the attic for a few decades and you've gathered some dust. So the journey isn't about fixing a broken machine. It's about dusting off the gold and respecting the masterpiece enough to let it shine. It changes the entire posture of the reader from crouched, defensive, and ashamed to standing tall and actually taking responsibility.
And if we look at the aesthetic design of the text itself, it perfectly mirrors that exact process of self-honor.
The colors.
Yes. The text actually points out its own physical design, noting, every black page reflects your shadows. Every golden lesson restores your light.
Oh, wow.
This is a brilliant, highly accessible application of Jungian psychology.
Like the shadow self.
Correct. Carl Jung believed that we all have a shadow. You know, the suppressed, dark, unacceptable, or traumatic parts of our psyche that we hide from the world and often from ourselves.
The stuff we don't want to look at.
Exactly. In the standard self-help model we were just talking about, the goal is often to ignore the shadow, to just think positive thoughts and paint over the darkness with bright colors.
Which usually just makes the shadow stronger in the end.
Always. Unacknowledged shadows drive our worst behaviors. But the framing of this text, every black page reflects your shadows. It demands that the reader actually look at the darkness. It demands integration.
Staring right at it.
Yes, by acknowledging the shadow, by looking at it on the page, it loses its destructive power. Only then can the golden lessons actually take root and restore the light.
That is so profound.
You cannot honor yourself if you are still terrified of your own dark corners. The physical book, with its heavy black pages and golden text, is acting as a literal mirror for that internal psychological integration.
That is incredibly immersive. The object itself is the curriculum.
Exactly.
But, you know, this brings up a huge question for me. Let's say you do it. Let's say you unlock the vault. You embrace the code. You face your shadow. And you achieve this internal invincibility we talked about.
Right.
What is it all actually for?
Ah.
Because the vast majority of the books on that bookstore shelf, they stop at the boundary of the self. The ultimate goal is to make you happy, to make you wealthy, to give you a peaceful morning routine. But this vault seems to demand something much bigger at the end of the journey.
It absolutely does. And this raises an important question. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the trajectory of the text shoots dramatically outward in its final lines.
Yeah, it doesn't stop with you.
Right. It explicitly rejects the idea of just sitting on top of a mountain feeling enlightened and self-satisfied.
Right, the text reads, "This is our moment, your moment to stand for your cause and for a greater purpose, to better defend and inspire mankind and to safeguard the world we share." That is a massive escalation from just, feeling good.
It is the ultimate paradigm shift of the text. It elevates the reader from an isolated individual trying to feel a little bit better on a Tuesday into a protector, a hero.
Hence the title.
Exactly. By urging the reader to visit their website, www.beahero.world, and telling them to join the movement, the text is actively building a coalition.
A team.
Yes. It reframes all the internal work we've discussed, the emotional mastery, the shadow work, the quizzes, the sacramentum. It reframes all of it as basic training.
Man, it's the difference between going to the gym just so you can look good in the mirror versus going to the gym because you know that one day you might have to lift a burning car off of someone.
Yes.
The why changes everything about how you approach the workout. If you're just trying to look good, you might skip leg day. But if you're training to safeguard the world, you don't skip the hard stuff.
That's a perfect analogy, because the weight of the world requires a tremendously strong foundation. The modern world is chaotic. It is full of friction, division, and genuine darkness.
That's for sure.
If you want to be someone who can better defend and inspire mankind in the middle of all that noise, you cannot be fragile. The Vault is offering the blueprints to build the mental and emotional density required to be genuinely useful to others.
Okay, so if we pull back and look at the whole picture, we've essentially circumnavigated this heavy metallic vault today.
We've covered the whole surface.
Yeah, we started by examining its imposing physical presence and how that design creates intentional friction, forcing us to become active participants rather than passive consumers. We decoded the architecture of the journey, how it uses concrete mechanics like quizzes alongside the deep, messy vulnerability of love and vitality.
The riverbanks.
Right, the riverbanks. We discussed the psychological brilliance of pre-normalizing setbacks. We explored the deep, ancient anchor of the sacramentum, shifting from the panic of feeling lost to the patience of becoming.
A huge shift.
Absolutely. And we unpackaged that massive shift from the deficit model of self-help to the empowering posture of self-honor. And finally, we saw how the ultimate goal isn't just internal peace, but external duty, building a mind strong enough to safeguard the world.
It is a remarkably comprehensive psychological ecosystem, entirely self-contained on the front and back cover of a single text. But, as complete as it seems, there is one final piece of this puzzle we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, right. The final warning label.
Exactly. Tucked away on the bottom left of the back cover, separated from the rest of the main text, is a standalone quote. It acts almost like a final provenation before you decide whether or not to actually pry the vault open.
And what does it say?
It simply says the only thing left to fear is your own greatness.
Wow. The only thing left to fear is your own greatness. I really want you to think about that the next time you find yourself walking through the aisles of a bookstore, passing all those easy, frictionless promises, or the next time you're scrolling through life hacks on your phone at 2 a.m.
It's a haunting thought.
It really is. If the map to your highest potential, the literal compass to recode your life and become a foundational pillar for the people around you, is sitting right in front of you, wrapped in a heavy vault that you actually hold the key to, well, why hesitate?
Step back.
Yeah. Why is our own greatness something we are so profoundly terrified of? What shadow is keeping you from turning the key? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and we'll catch you on the next one.